Welcome, everyone, to MLB Tonight. We are all in shock like you are. It's Greg Amsinger in Studio K with a former member of Team USA who's competed in the WBC before, Jake Peavy. Jake, your initial reaction to seeing Aaron Judge strike out there in the ninth inning. Italy shocks the world, and they beat the juggernaut Team USA 8-6.
I think stunned is the reaction, just as I think everybody is. This USA team is a powerhouse juggernaut, name after name. When you watch Weiser with just about 5 big league saves under his belt come in a moment that he never dreamed of. Comes through with Gunner, big strikeout, and then the changeup to Judge. I thought anything else was coming. I thought fastball slider. Big time moment for Weiser coming through for Team Italy.
This game was a classic. Commend Team USA for battling back in an 8-0 hole. When you look at the rules, which we're going to get into, about whether or not they can advance and move on, they had to score some runs against a team that's going to be in the mix to move on, that team being Italy. And they made it so captivating. That was the tying run at the plate in Aaron Judge. Pete Crow Armstrong hit 2 home runs. But for Italy to score this many runs against Team USA when the first inning looked as dominant as it did, Noah McLean looked great. This is a historic moment for Italian baseball.
As big as it gets, you go out and beat this superpower. Nolan McLean was outstanding. Just a few fastballs got away from him, and you got to give Team Italy incredible credit. This team was not scared one bit. Michael Lorenzen, what an incredible job getting the depth. You saw after he come out of the ball game, it was all.
Oh, yeah, and we saw it coming, man. We did. We knew it was going to be like that.
If he doesn't have the length, that game comes out a little bit different if USA has a few more chances to get in that bullpen.
Team Italy, they beat Team USA, and 1 through 5 in their lineup did not have a single hit. Maybe you can't make this stuff up. Let's get right to the highlights of a game that is an instant classic. If you're a fan of Italian baseball, my goodness, you want to watch closely. Kyle Teal, first pitch of his at-bat in the second, jumps him.
Not a bad pitch at all. Like I said, he was just looking for it, and what a job staying to the big part of the field.
Later in the inning, 1 on, 2 outs, Sam Antonacci turns on 1. And all of a sudden, the air sucked out of that ballpark.
Well, this is like playoff baseball. You get a lead, everybody can relax and start to play free and easy and let Michael Lorenzen go right after these guys.
Jack Caglione, 2-2 pitch. That is a laser, ladies and gentlemen. And you see why the Royals are so excited. His upside's amazing, almost as amazing as that bat toss.
You see the emotion that this WBC brings out in the players. It is just great.
And then Michael Lorenzen, the 34-year-old, 11 big league seasons. Jake, he didn't throw 1 pitch that was dead straight.
No, he didn't. Sinker was on point. You see here getting ground balls, pulling the string with the changeup. Slider was on point, as you see right here to right-handers. Michael Lorenzen, huge night.
Carried it into the 5th. There's a pitch limit. 65 pitch limit. He was able to get into the 5th against Team USA. Tough moment here. Kyle Teal, the Chicago White Sox, they love this kid. He's going to be a backstop for them for a very long time. Injures himself running to second base on this double, and his reaction says it all. He knew he was significantly injured, Jake.
Yeah, this is devastating. This could have happened in any baseball game. Hopefully it's not too bad of a hamstring injury.
Antonacci gets a little comeback here, and oh, man, it's amazing. Some pitchers, they just have a hard time throwing the bases, and it bit Keller there.
Yeah, this gets USA out of the inning. Unfortunately, throws it away. Italy adds on.
Later, Jacob Marcy at the plate. It's 7-0 wild pitch. Aggressive base running. Antonacci scores. It's 8-0. This is shocking, folks. We go to the 7th. You knew Team USA was going to do everything they could. 8-1 the score now, and PCA had himself a night.
Big-time player, PCA, showing you right here. Gets a hanging changeup, does not miss it. Second deck, getting the boys going.
In the 8th, Bryce Harper, pinch hitting, representing the tying run. A little out in front, a great pitch. Off speed, ends the threat. Italy clinging to the 9th. Pete Crow Armstrong with 1 out. 1-2 pitch. This time a 2-hand finish. The result, the same. It's over the wall.
Yeah, another off-speed pitch, this time a slider, but either one hanging in the middle of the zone. PCA knows what to do with it.
Red Sox reliever Greg Weissert in the game gets the punch-out of Aaron Judge, the captain of Team USA, representing the tying run. An unbelievable game in Houston. Italy remains undefeated. 8-6 the final as the United States loses this ball game. We're going to get into all the details regarding what has to happen between Italy and Mexico on Wednesday. That's coming up. First, let's wrap our minds around what we saw. Michael Lorenzen. By the way, we were expecting Aaron Nola to get this start for Team Italy. Obviously, the brass putting this roster together, they decided Michael Lorenzen was a better fit against these stars. They clearly were right, Jake.
They absolutely were. I got a chance to talk to him in Rocky's camp. He's in great shape. You get out of Arizona where he's been pitching, a sinker moves a little bit more. The cutter does. And again, the changeup all night was an equalizing pitch no matter who was out there, and it certainly was for Michael Lorenzen. Incredible night.
And then Francisco Cervelli, the manager, he knew he did not have the stuff in his bullpen to match up with what Mark DeRosa has in his bullpen. All big league relievers. Okay, these guys, Greg Weissert is legit, had a great year last year for the Boston Red Sox, a 2.82 ERA, 4 saves, over 70 games he appeared in. He was saving him for the end. Francisco Cervelli, knowing what he was up against, and his bullpen was going to give up runs, really managed an incredible baseball game today.
He absolutely did. And what's going to be interesting is tomorrow night, they're in a must-win situation versus Mexico. Do a lot of these guys get to bounce back? What are the team rules? For him to manage this game, I know it was an 8-0 lead, but against that lineup that you saw never quit coming all night, he managed it beautifully. I think Matt Festa's going to want a couple pitches back, maybe throw some sliders and when he went fastball.
Right.
Other than that, they all bend but don't break was the motto.
This was an incredible baseball game. Team Italy shocks the world. They beat USA by a score of 8-6. After the game, Sam Antonacci, who was all over the field for Team Italy, caught up with our own John Morosi.
Sam Antonacci, take a look around. What just happened?
Just 30 guys. We come together. Don't need all the bells and whistles. We just.
So Antonacci, a prospect in the White Sox system, was able to make plays defensively, key at bats as well, and it's the aggressive base running. That's the one thing I've seen with teams that are the underdog in this tournament style. You have to be aggressive and put pressure on the team that's favored to win. If you can squeak out an extra run, what I loved about it, they were running the bases when they had a big lead, like they had a 1-run lead or it was tied, almost as if they knew this incredible lineup from Team USA was inevitably coming back on them.
We talk about playing free and easy, and you get a lead early on. You can take some chances. They certainly did that. This team, again, I said it earlier, not afraid one bit. You get that early lead, they did nothing but push the envelope. It turned out working in their favor.
And look, as we sit here, I know so many American baseball fans are in shock right now. We have to celebrate what Italy has done.
Of course.
What Team Italy has done is the biggest moment in their baseball history to beat this lineup of superstars. This young man, Jack Caglione, first off, when I looked at the lineup, and nothing, no knock on the other players in the lineup, the fact that he's batting sixth, I'm like, wait a minute. This is arguably the most talented player on your roster. You see it there. There's legit talent on Team Italy. This is a team that is not a pushover anymore, and the world got to know that on Tuesday night.
You're exactly right. You're talking about Antonacci. We saw what he did, the big swing. Kyle Teal, a huge night until the injury, and Jack Caglione is as big a prospect as we have in the game. We saw they single-handedly, the top of the lineup, got handled beautifully by the pitching staff on the other side. Not so much the bottom. These prospects, they're not huge household names yet, but they're coming.
And Kyle Teal, I mean, my goodness. All of this had to happen holding on to a big lead with your backup catcher in the game.
Yeah.
Kyle Teal is a legit budding star in this sport. And for him to get injured, more than likely, that does it for his World Baseball Classic experience in 2026.
Yeah, you certainly hate to see this. Injuries are just part of the game, but you see the talent in this swing right here, backing the fastball up and having the power to drive it out of the ballpark the other way. Shows you just what kind of talent he is. Next at bat, he got an off-speed pitch, stayed on that enough to double down the line. Unfortunately, trying to leg it out. he's hurt, but
yeah, right hamstring discomfort is what we're hearing right now.
It didn't look good.
No.
When a player knows immediately that he hurt something, is normally pretty bad. Let's just hope it's not off the bone or any kind of surgery needing injury.
Yeah. Again, their catcher injured in Kyle Teal, but they're celebrating right now. You know Kyle Teal's in that clubhouse with the boys after Team Italy shocks Team USA 8-6 to the final. John Morosi catching up with all the members of Team Italy, including their manager, Francisco Cervelli.
Francisco, how do you describe what we witnessed tonight?
Spectacular, fantastic, incredible. I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised. Those guys have talent, real talent. And we talk about before the game, those young guys, Antonacci, Nori, Jag. We got talent. We can play baseball. So I'm not surprised, but this is unbelievable.
After the biggest win in the history of Italian baseball, who did you hug first in that dugout, and what did you say?
Ron Waters. I don't know what I said. It's amazing. It's amazing what those guys are doing. It's great, and then we got to continue because this is not over. Tomorrow we got another tough game. It's going to get tougher and tougher, but I think we're ready for that.
It got loud here late, Francisco. What allowed your team to persevere and win this ball game?
Well, I talked to them, and I told Vinny, you got to stop the game, you stop it. You know, we got to we got to be patient, pitch by pitch. So that's what they did. They kept it calm. They handled well, and the pitchers, they were outstanding.
How much does this win validate the choice you have made now to spend half your year in Italy to grow this program?
It's worth it, my friend. It's work. It's real. It's real. I'm doing this with my heart. This is not money. This is nothing. It's just a group of young kids. They want to play baseball. They dream to come to the States, and I'm going to help them to make the dream true.
Finalmente, in italiano.
Sì.
Qual è il tuo messaggio ai giovani di Italia questa sera per il futuro del baseball in Italia?
Si può giocare al baseball in Italia, non solo in America, si può giocare al baseball in Europa. Nos allenamos fortissimo, facciamo una preparazione bella e arriviamo qua per imparare come si gioca al baseball.
Una serata bellissima, complimenti, congratulazioni e ci vediamo presto.
Grazie mille.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.
If you know Francisco Cervelli, I'm honored to have conversations with this man before. 13 years in the big leagues, a very likable player. He's only 40 years old. If you're looking at somebody who's got the chops, there are a lot of guys that you're going to see as big league managers that are managing in the World Baseball Classic. This guy's got everything you want. And just the way he was in that dugout, it just reminded me of all the moments of him walking out to the mound and calming down his pitcher in a big moment. He really was strutting his stuff as the manager of this team, knowing Team USA was coming back at some point.
As he should be. A team takes on the personality of their manager. I heard a few things in there that stuck out to me. You hear what he said he was managing with? His heart.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this for me there's no money, there's nothing. I'm in this with my heart. The boys feel that. Did you hear who he hugged first and foremost? Ron Wotus. What was Ron Wotus? Bruce Bochy's right-hand man, delivering championship after championship when they weren't supposed to. That Team Italy, when you talk about those two leaders, Francisco Cervelli certainly pulled the right strings tonight, had his team believing, just as he did for a long time.
He saved Greg Weissert for the very end, a legit reliever in the sport, folks. Pitching for the Boston Red Sox right now, ERA at 2.82 last year. A really good reliever, put him as his closer and knew he was going to need him at the very end.
Right.
And if you're Mark DeRosa and Team USA and you're down 8-0, all you would pray for is an opportunity with 2 outs in the ninth with Aaron Judge at the plate as the tying run. It didn't work out, and Italy wins by a score of 8-6. We're going to take a break on MLB Tonight. We come back, let's hear from D-Row and members of Team USA after this shocking defeat in Houston on Tuesday night. That's next. 34-year-old Michael Lorenzen, 11 years in the big leagues, pitched into the 5th inning. And let me tell you, if there weren't rules that 65 pitches you have to come out, this dude would have been out there as long as he could have been. Michael Lorenzen, incredible against Team USA on Tuesday night, leading Team Italy to an 8-6 victory. 2 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Michael Lorenzen joins us now on MLB Tonight. Michael, how do you put into words what you lived through against Team USA tonight?
I mean, it was ideal, that's for sure. You try and be as efficient as you possibly can, get early out so you can go as deep as you can with the 65 pitch count. So, yeah, I mean, that was as good as I could have drawn it up, I guess, because with that lineup, they're not going to chase a ton, so they can work your pitch count up, pretty quickly, and you'll be out of there in 2 innings, if you're not smart with it.
Michael Spieth, great job, buddy. Congratulations. I just want to talk to you about the composure. We know that you have composure. You've thrown and completed a no-hitter in the big leagues. This is a daunting task versus an incredible lineup. Talk to me about just keeping your composure and how you're able to go about it tonight.
Yeah, I feel like my composure stems from just my faith, to be honest. Just knowing that whatever happens, God has it planned out, and, I'm going to grow closer to him. I'm going to mature. I'm going to, figure out, whether it was failure, whether I went out and gave up 10 runs tonight, there was going to be some growth that happened, or if I went out and threw a good game, there's going to be growth that happened. So it just allows you to stay in the moment, frees me up to just kind of attack the zone and trust whatever happens is going to happen.
I mean, the names, you can't avoid the names in this lineup. When you woke up this morning and you pitched in the big leagues as long as you've pitched, to see this many stars, that you're facing an all-star team today, Michael. Did you really approach this like just another start?
I did. You have to be, each individual guy is so specialized and they're so good with what they do, and that's why they're there. So you have to game plan really well. And so I took a lot of, it was a little more game planning than just any other start, to be honest. But if you can't execute, your plan doesn't matter. So you got to execute as well. And thankfully tonight I was executing.
Talking about executing, you were moving it in, out. I was watching the ball sink. I was watching balls at the top of the zone, ground outs, fly outs. The changeup played huge. Talk about pitching. In today's world where it's grip it and rip it, you're a complete pitcher. Talk to just what that's like, what you're trying to do out there.
Yeah. I mean, you want to build stuff where you can just grip it and rip it, but when you don't have that anymore, you got to learn how to pitch, and I think that skill allows you to, maneuver through lineups and good hitters, and you can't really get away with the middle, just grip it and rip it. You got to move the ball. So that's why I have 8 different shapes, so I can hopefully have, an answer for different guys. But like I said, if you're not executing, to the spot that you need to get it to, then these guys will make you pay. So, that's also a big component. Grip it and rip it will work so much, but when these guys get to see you multiple times, the grip it and rip it, there's just too many mistakes involved, and they'll get you.
Like Jake said, you've thrown a no-hitter. You have 7 career home runs. I'm sure your first career home run was pretty awesome. 4 2/3 scoreless in the World Baseball Classic against Team USA, that dream team lineup. Where does this rank among the greatest moments of your baseball life?
I mean, it's up there with the no-hitter. I mean, behind the no-hitter for sure. But it's up there. Like I said, it's as ideal as it could have gone, going in, getting into the 5th there with 65 pitches. I know I'm on a pitch count. You're trying to limit as much damage as you can. So, I mean, it's an incredible lineup. All those guys are incredible. I know most of them. And so to be able to do that, I couldn't have asked for any more.
Hey, you were special, Michael. That was an incredible thing to watch. Michael Lorenzen of Team Italy, 4 2/3 scoreless. Congratulations. Enjoy this night with your beautiful family. I don't think they have a voice left, Michael. They kept cutting away to them in the broadcast. They were screaming with every out. So go enjoy that beautiful family, okay?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys, and God bless you guys.
All right, there you have him. Michael Lorenzen, 34 years young, having an incredible moment in his baseball
Congrats,
life.
buddy.
All right, let's go to the podium where Mark DeRosa is about to address the media and talk about this heartbreaking loss, 8-6 the final to Team Italy. Here's D-Row now.
Mark. Hey, Mark.
How you doing?
So, the pretense to come back to this WBC was the unfinished business. With the looming reality or possibility that the U.S. is probably out of pool play after tomorrow's game, would there be a third stint for DeRosa?
Would there be what?
A third stint for you at the WBC with Team USA?
I'm not concerned about that right now. Just tough game, great game by Italy. Jumped on us quick. Couple big homers to kind of stifle the crowd a little bit. And we had the right guys at the plate at the right time. just weren't able to get it done.
Go to Christy in the third row.
On a television interview today, you seemed to indicate that you thought y'all had already advanced to the quarterfinals. Is that true?
Yeah, I misspoke. I was on hot stove with a couple buddies today and completely misread the calculations. We knew that Mexico was going to play Italy and then running all the numbers with if we lost tonight with the runs allowed and runs scored and outs. So I just misspoke.
Ken standing on the right.
Mark, last night was an emotional, intense game.
Yeah.
You guys were gathered for a long time afterward. Is there a possibility in your mind that there was a little bit of a feeling of relief and maybe a letdown tonight?
I don't think so, Ken. I got to give credit to Italy. I thought Nolan came out, punched out the side in the first inning, thought he was rolling. They jumped on a few pitches, grabbed a 3-0 lead, trying to kind of get Ryan Yarbrough through 2 to kind of save our pen. We had 4 guys available in the pen, plus Kershaw late. Just tried to reset it. We could have done it another way. We could have went right to the pen and then saved Ryan Yarbrough on the back end, but I felt like it was a good pocket for him with the bottom of the order and the lefties coming up, and he's here for a reason. So, yeah, no, I'll credit Italy more than say we were flat.
The fourth row on your right, Mark. Evan.
Mark, what made Lorenzen tough tonight?
Listen, he's pitched against the guys. He's got good scouting reports on these guys. Just bottom line, we didn't get it going early. I mean, credit to him. He was making pitches, and yeah, they jumped on us, got a 3-0 lead, and I thought we hung in there. It was just a little too late. We got right guys to the plate at the right times. We just weren't able to get that big swing.
Up front on your right, Bob.
Mark, was there any solace there toward the end where, Bednar, kept the bases loaded there, and then you kept him at 8, knowing that, hey, if they scored, a couple more runs here, we're going to lose on the tiebreaker?
Yeah, that's the rub, Bob. It's like, do you go for, like, right there after Nolan comes out, or do you let him go out for another hitter or two to kind of run his pitch count up and then go to Keller and run the bullpen out and then have Yarbrough on the back end and prevent runs? I just thought it was a good lane for him. I felt like our offense was going to explode at some point, but yeah, I don't know if I find solace in it.
Go to Ken over here.
Mark, how difficult is it knowing that your fate is not in your hands?
Yeah, it's tough. It's super tough. I mean, guys in there are frustrated. It is what it is, though. I mean, we got to own it, right? Like, went out there today, and like I said, we had right guys at the plate at the right time. Just couldn't push it across at the end. But I got to credit Italy, man. They tacked on runs. It was 3-0. Then Caglione goes deep. PCA kept us in the game. 2 big swings of the bat. Bullpen came in, did their job on the back end. Bednar was great. Mason Miller was explosive. So yeah, it's tough.
Do a couple more, Jeff. Fourth row in the middle.
Mark, the top 5 hitters in their lineup went 0 for 22 tonight.
Yeah.
How much more frustrating is it when you do so well against the top of the lineup and get beaten by the bottom?
Yeah, it was that pocket of 6, 7, 8 that did all the damage. Yeah. And baseball's a tough game, Jeff. I mean, bottom line, you try and run the matchups, you try and get guys proper lanes. You got to tip your hat to them when they're swinging the bats well. I mean, kind of ambushed a few. Kyle Teal shoots one into the Crawford boxes. Shortstop's able to pop one to right center. Caglione tacks on. Just 3 swings of the bat. So, I mean, that's kind of the name of the game in modern baseball.
Last question or two, and we'll finish up with David.
Mark, we've all heard so many times anything can happen in baseball. Would you say that this is an example of that?
Yeah, I don't want to discredit it. They got a good team. I mean, bottom line, they're running big leaguers up there. Michael Lorenzen's had success in the big leagues against guys. So, yeah, frustrated, but I don't want to discredit what Italy did tonight.
All right, Mark, thanks so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Manager of Team USA, Mark DeRosa, handling those questions beautifully. Look, he mentioned 3 times they had the right guys at the plate. And he saved Bryce Harper for a big moment, and that moment happened. Ron Marinaccio was on the mound, and Bryce just got a little out in front on a 3-2 pitch. He had a great at-bat. Yeah, D-Row just handled that like a pro. That was tough to watch a friend go through such a devastating loss. And like he said, he had his guys up there with the big swings. Bryce couldn't quite come through. And then Judge here, again, Weiser with change-up. I said it earlier, change-up played a huge part from Lorenzen on out into this game planning of Team Italy, able to get it done.
What did you think of the way he constructed his bullpen, putting Yarbrough in that early? Because you could go the other way, going, we have to limit the damage here. We're down by 3.
He told you he thought about that, but Yarbrough against the lefties, he should have handled those guys. And like he said, you're there for a reason, only having 4 relievers. You think the offense is going to pull you back into this game, and you're going to need those guys late. I had 0 problems with the way it played out. And again, him not discrediting Team Italy.
I love that.
That is the way to go about it. It was a tough one tonight for Team USA, hoping for the best tomorrow.
Yeah, let's talk more about that after the break. John Morosi on the field in Houston is going to walk us through all of the different scenarios in case there's a tiebreaker. There's no other way to put it. It's one of the biggest upsets in the history of the World Baseball Classic. Jack Caglione and Team Italy already up by 3. He connects on this 2-2 offering to make it 5-0. And a bat flip for the ages. Well, espresso, why not? Vinny Pasquantino, and later, PCA looking for his 2nd homer of the night. And Pete Crow Armstrong from the 9 spot joins Ken Griffey Jr. and Trey Turner, who was also batting 9th. But he had a multi-homer game for Team USA. But it wasn't enough. Greg Weitzer put in the game to face Aaron Judge, representing the tying run and the punch-out. Team Italy, biggest win in their history. They upset the United States 8-6. Now it's time for today's Team USA report, presented by Capital One. Let's welcome in John Morosi, who's in Houston. All right, JP, good to see you, man. First off, before we get into the details and the minutia about tomorrow, which we have to iron out, how in the world was that to witness? You were there witnessing that in person. It had to be incredible.
Greg, one of the more indescribable sporting events I've witnessed. I've seen a few. This one's up there in terms of the surprising value, and yet I'll point something out. During the handshake line afterward, I was looking carefully. Certainly a lot of the Italian players were elated, but many were fairly routine about how they went through the handshake line. They expected to win this game. Sam Antonacci told me that after the game. He expected Italy would win. Michael Lorenzen, you guys just spoke with him very eloquently, as he always is, and he was confident. Michael Lorenzen has pitched in the Major League Baseball All-Star game. He's pitched a no-hitter in the big leagues. This was not too big for him. And I think, as he described to you earlier, too, just the attack mentality that he had. By the way, they've got a pretty good pitcher on the mound tomorrow night in Aaron Nola. So this Team Italy roster is the best that Italy has ever had. And the issue with Team USA, obviously they scored their runs late. They didn't play a very clean game. And typically you would expect that in a stage like this that the U.S. would play the cleaner game. But there was at least 1 unearned run. There were 2 errors the U.S. committed. With Italy, I believe they only walked 1 batter the entire game. They played the cleaner game. They added on runs early, and they had the necessary bullpen pieces to preserve that lead late. And I think the big picture point of why we love the World Baseball Classic so much, of course, the U.S. has the burden of expectations, like Canada does in Olympic hockey. The U.S. wears that expectation. For Italy, this can be a watershed moment for the growth of the sport. And Marco Mazzieri, who is the president of the Italian Baseball Federation, he came down to the field afterward, and what he said to me in English was, "This is a sports miracle." And he also talked about what this means just to get more funding for the sport, to develop it in Italy. It's a completely different idea from what Team USA is competing for. Team USA is competing to assert its dominance in the national pastime of the United States. For Italy, it's a vastly different circumstance. And I do think, as Francisco Cervelli told me later on tonight as well, that the reverberations for this will certainly be felt in Italy potentially for generations to come.
Well, American baseball fans are now going to have to root for Team Italy on Wednesday. If Italy were to beat Mexico, Team USA would advance. So we can get that out of the way. But, JP, if Mexico were to win on Wednesday night against Italy, what has to happen for Team USA to still survive?
So in that situation, Greg, just to use the broad strokes, is that if Mexico wins in a lower scoring game, okay, if Mexico wins in a lower scoring game, then obviously that changes the math of how it could all go. Because at the end of the day, this tiebreaker is determined by runs allowed. Italy did allow a lot of runs to Team USA in this game at the end of the day, allowing those 6 runs. So if Italy starts to then climb up and allow a bunch of runs, I believe the line of demarcation is 5. If Italy loses a 9-inning game while allowing 5 or more, then Italy is knocked out and the U.S. goes through. But if it's a low-scoring game, then it's trouble for Team USA, because then Italy would have a very low number of runs allowed. The add-on runs in this game not only crush the U.S. from the standpoint of their inability to win this baseball game, but it really has a residual impact. The runs that scored on the missed throw to second base, the add-on runs from Caglione, and you think about what he was able to do, that is what ends up adding to the tally. So if you're a U.S. fan, you are hoping that it is a high-scoring game where Italy gives up a ton of runs. Because if Italy gives up a low number of runs, if it's a 2-1 victory for Mexico, if it's a 3-2 victory for Mexico, that is the scenario in which Team USA goes home, and that it's Mexico and Italy hosting the quarterfinal games here this weekend in Houston. So it's a very uneasy 24 hours for Team USA. They have to wait and watch. It's even unclear what you do tomorrow if you're Team USA. You don't know if your WBC run is over or if you're going to be hosting a game here later on this week. So difficult 24 hours, and certainly American baseball fans now cheering for Team Italy to make that the tidiest outcome possible, which is Italy at 4-0, the U.S. at 3-1. They both advance. If Mexico wins, they want that, American baseball fans want that to be a high-scoring game, which would then knock the Italians out.
Watch party for sure for Team USA. I want to just take you back to Team Italy and you talking about them expecting to win. We talked about the players. I talk about Francisco Cervelli. We know the leader, but Ron Wotus in that dugout. Jorge Posada over there game planning. What did you see from that bench and the guys they have over there that kept them calm throughout?
You know, Jake, it's a great question and a great point that you make, because I do believe the experience factor for this Italy coaching staff played a huge role today. Remember, what I thought watching this game in real time could have been the pivot point that flipped it into the U.S.'s favor was when Kyle Teal got hurt. Then you're putting in a younger catcher who was not even actually supposed to be on the roster to begin with. So the backup catcher was supposed to be Alberto Minio, but he was injured before this tournament started. So J.J. D'Orazio ended up coming in when Teal, trying to get this double, has some hamstring discomfort, pulls up and has to leave the game. You know, Jake, from being on the mound, when you've got a dependable catcher, a budding star behind the plate, and he leaves the game, it impacts every single pitch that is called, every single decision that is made. And so I thought right then that is the pivot point that swings this game into the Americans' favor. And obviously they very nearly came back and won the ball game, but you got to credit D'Orazio for doing a good job of blocking balls. That was an issue for him in the game against Great Britain. And I do think that the point you make about that continuity of the coaching staff, I asked Cervelli after the game who was the first person he hugged, and he said Ron Wotus. And you think Dave Righetti, and also they had, though, the Italian born and raised pitching coach Alessandro Maestri making a lot of the mound visits. So this has been a collaborative effort where there is a strong homegrown core of coaches that are teaching the game in Italy. Cervelli, as you may know, he's now living half of the year in Italy. He talked about putting 15,000 miles on a van, driving around Italy looking for players. And it's not just players for this team, it's players for the U12 national team, the U15 national team, the U18 national team. You have to grow it. When you're not the United States, you grow the game in a different way at the very grassroots level. And Cervelli is actually running an academy in this beautiful Tuscan village called Castiglione della Pascaia in Italy, where players are developing. And certainly right about now, gentlemen, it's about 6 a.m. there. Those players are waking up saying, our national team just beat the United States.
Crazy.
And that certainly is going to send some shockwaves around European baseball for a long time to come.
No better person to talk to after a classic baseball game like this than John Morosi, who joins us here in MLB Tonight. John, thank you so much. Save your voice. You've got a lot more reporting to do from what has been a very eventful World Baseball Classics.
1-2 to Judge. He got him! He got him! Italy has done it! The biggest win
It is the biggest upset in the history of the World Baseball Classic. We were chatting the commercial break, looking at other upsets. Nothing close to this. What Team USA has is a dream team, and for Team Italy to get it done was incredible. And like Mark DeRosa, the manager of Team USA, said 3 times in his post-game press conference, they had the right guys at the right time to tie the ball game, including Aaron Judge, Captain America at the plate, and Greg Weitzer, a member of the Boston Red Sox. The pitch-by-pitch there, it was interesting, was it not?
It was, and you know that these guys have some matchup being in the playoffs against one another. This was Judge's pitch, the fastball. That right there is so close to being a homer. And look, we try it again. If he don't swing at it, you know you can't get him to swing at it again. And you go back to the changeup. Judge probably thought it was that fastball again. A great job of Weitzer and catching staff, understanding the right pitches to throw at the right time. Could have went different, but Aaron Judge falls this time.
Again, I want to remind you, 3 years ago, Team USA lost to Mexico, still advanced all the way to the final to face Japan. So it can be done. Here are the tiebreaker scenarios. If Italy wins, then Italy and the United States advance. Mexico also guaranteed to advance with a win. Assuming a 9-inning game, the United States will advance if Italy gives up 5 or more runs and loses. That's a magic number. 5 or more runs. Assuming a 9-inning game, Italy would advance. If they lose but give up 4 or fewer runs. Those last 2 lines are vitally important. And I can't imagine being Mark DeRosa and his coaching staff, so many guys that you love, how they're going to be watching that game on Wednesday night.
Yeah, their stomachs in knots. Going to be tonight, the rest of the night, be tough sleeping, going to be a tough watch. But again, they're pulling like heck for Team Italy and Aaron Nola for them to advance. I can tell you this, if they do advance, look out after this.